Hey everybody, so what I wanted to talk about today is going to be carbon fiber rifle barrels. So if you guys know where I work, you know that carbon fiber barrels are kind of our thing. That's our bread and butter, and it's what we do very well. And we were also the first ones in the industry to come out with a carbon fiber barrel. So now lately they've been getting a lot more popularity and a lot more companies are starting to do them. But now what is the purpose and what's the reasoning behind actually making a carbon fiber rifle barrel? So to know that, we've got to go back a little bit to one of the videos I did about barrel harmonics and barrel vibrations and kind of how that affects group size and accuracy. So let's look at two different barrels, both steel, one of a very thin, skinny profile, and then one's a much thicker profile. So when you shoot that bullet, the bullet's going to travel down the barrel, and that barrel is going to have some harmonics to it. The barrel's hanging out of the receiver, it's going to want to bend, and it's going to have some movement. It's just part of what's there. It's something you can't get away from. So the thin barrel, because it's thinner and easier to bend, it's not as stiff. So what that means is you're going to get a little bit bigger harmonic and wave cycle out of that barrel. So as the bullet's traveling down, let's say you are in this point in the harmonic cycle and the bullet leaves the barrel. Next shot, you come down and the bullet dips and you are in this point of the harmonic cycle. There's just a lot bigger room for error to where that bullet can leave the barrel, leading to inconsistency. So now with a much heavier steel barrel, it's harder to bend, the stiffness is increased. So what that does is that minimizes how much that wave propagates. So you can see the error band on where your bullet's going to be released is going to be much smaller. So this is why heavy and full contour steel barrels are usually considered much more accurate. The downside is that's adding a lot of steel back into the system. So for a lightweight hunting rifle, they just get exceptionally heavy because that's just a ton of steel and that's a significant part of the weight of the system. So there are other ways to increase the stiffness rather than just by straight adding steel material. And that's where the carbon fiber comes in. So you start with a full-size steel blank, you turn it down to a very thin profile because the bore and groove and all that still needs to be steel to contain the bullet, but then you come up and you build back onto that profile with carbon fiber. The reason for that is because the stiffness to weight ratio is much higher than steel, so you can add the carbon fiber back, build the barrel up, increase your stiffness, without adding all that weight back. So it's a very light material, it's a very stiff material, and it will bring back down that harmonic signature due to the increased stiffness without the added weight. So it is effective. I do have a carbon fiber barrel on my hunting rifle. If you want to get into a little bit more depth, this is going to be the next topic I want to go over in my podcast. Should have that out by the end of next week. Go follow the Long Range Science podcast and go check me out on Instagram at Long Range Science, and we'll get into a little bit more depth on this. Thanks, everybody.